Manchester United 4, Everton 0. What a return to form at Old Trafford for Ruben Amorim's first win in the Premier League at the second time of asking. That's 3 games now, unbeaten, and we saw a much better defensive performance on the whole, as well as the attack. Join me now for Manchester United, the D Unit's view. Look, this game had it all. The first, half an hour was actually a pretty even affair. It wasn't like Everton were rubbish, but we weren't overly fantastic either. We did leave some space for Everton to play in the holes and the pockets of space between our defence and our defence and our midfield. I don't know. It was an interesting first half an hour. Then we sort of got to grips with the game. Once the first goal went in, we never looked likely to lose, and it looked like it was just going to be a matter of how many goals we were going to get. I mean, the really positive thing to take out of all of this is the fact that we had four attacking players involved with the 4 goals, but on double up occasions. So, for example, Marcus Rashford got 2 goals. Joshua Zirkzee, who also returned to the starting lineup, also got 2 goals. Amad got a pair of assists, and Bruno Fernandes also got a pair of assists. So it was a really good day out for the Manchester United attack, and hopefully, moving on, that is something that is going to continue. We can only hope that it is something that's going to continue, because realistically, that's what it needs to be. We need to be keeping this sort of run of momentum going. And it was handy that the game was pretty much over effectively by the hour mark, because as per usual, as we've seen it, and I don't mind it, Ruben Amorim is making really aggressive substitutions really early. Today, we had De Ligt and Mazraoui going off on the 56th minute, which by then obviously it was already 3-0, and on for them came Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw. So Luke Shaw continues to build his fitness. Will he be fit in time to start at Arsenal is the interesting question, because unfortunately Lisandro Martinez and Kobbie Mainoo both picked up their 5th yellow cards of the season, which means they will both be suspended for the Arsenal game, which could be problematic, considering that you would think that the only person likely to play where Martinez went off was Shaw. I mean, Harry Maguire potentially could play there, but it's hard to see Harry Maguire doing well against Bukayo Saka, who seems to be in amazing form for Arsenal, fresh off a hat-trick of assists and a goal. I'm not sure if that's the matchup I want to be going for. I feel like Luke Shaw would be the best fitted, but can he last 90 minutes? Who knows? The medical department, do they know? Does Ruben Amorim know? I suppose we'll find out when it comes to the game on Thursday night. In regards to how that looks, how that works out, and all the rest. But realistically, United were good here, and he did make. I suppose let's start with the lineup. So I actually almost picked the correct lineup for this game in the Man United predictor. I did not expect Joshua Zirkzee to get a start. I'll be straight up and honest. Yes, he scored 2 goals in this game, but they were literally, as far as I'm concerned, they're tap-ins. The goals he got today were literally goals that he should always be getting. In fairness, though, I thought his link-up play was not too bad today. He definitely offered more than we've seen over the last, pretty much since the Crystal Palace game. I don't recall Joshua Zirkzee playing well since that game, but today he looked all right. He looked much better today. So, look, that's kudos to him after I basically said he's not good enough and we should already cut our losses. The jury's still definitely out, and I'm still more inclined to think that he doesn't really fit a Ruben Amorim system, but he looked okay out there today, and that was well done on him. And well done to Ruben Amorim for figuring out where best to deploy him. Rasmus Højlund obviously didn't get on at all today after his exertions in midweek. So, look, it's good that all our forwards are in scoring form. So, obviously, Bruno scored those goals and got those assists today. He got the goals, obviously, under Ruud van Nistelrooy, and he's got some assists today. And then, obviously, we've had Joshua Zirkzee now scoring. We've had Marcus Rashford scoring. We've had Rasmus Højlund scoring. Amad Diallo hasn't scored, but he's been involved in all things that have been good for United over the last couple of weeks. I don't. It still baffles me how Erik ten Hag did not play him regularly. Like when you watch him now, and we'll get onto him in a little bit, but he has been fantastic. I don't know what Erik ten Hag was thinking when he just chose not to play him. But yeah, look. So we'll go through the rest of the changes. So it was the same back three to start with as the Bodo Glimt game. So we had Lisandro Martinez at left centre back, De Ligt in the centre, and Mazraoui out on the right. Mazraoui again did pretty much nothing wrong. He probably earned a bit of a rest on the 56 minutes, so I don't mind that. Amad Diallo obviously returned to right wing back, which was fantastic. And then we had Diego Dalot returning to the left wing back role. Look, he didn't really get forward too much. Like a couple of times he went forward, but he just doesn't look that damaging. I'm not sure what's going on with Dalot. Like the left side these times is just, I don't know. He just looks a little lost out on that side. And I feel like that's a position that we could definitely upgrade moving forward. Casemiro actually started. He replaced Manuel Ugarte in the lineup. And obviously Kobbie Mainoo replaced Bruno that played there on the midweek, but Bruno obviously pushed back up into the one of the two inside number 10 roles. So Kobbie came in for him. So Kobbie pretty much came in for Mount, and Fernandes went back to where Mount occupied the other day. And then Marcus Rashford replaced Alejandro Garnacho in the lineup, and obviously Joshua Zirkzee replaced Rasmus Højlund. So those are the 6 changes, and I don't mind it. It's obvious that Ruben Amorim is still experimenting with the squad, and I think that moving forward, this is something we are likely to see for the foreseeable future until he settles on a system and works out which players can do which. Because look, there's still some glaring things, and as I said before, there's definitely still a lot to work there. I feel like a better team other than Everton might have scored in the first half an hour. I mean, we did allow a bit too much space. Once we went 1-0 up, though, it felt very comfortable as a game to watch and follow along with. So that's something that needs to be taken into consideration for sure. But yeah, look, the stats, 60% possession in this game. So we did have a lot more of the ball. That's not a surprise. I think we're not going to see that against Arsenal. It might be the reverse, and we might end up on 40%. It is going to be interesting to see how Amorim sets up for Arsenal. We had 11 shots to 8, 5 shots on target to 2. Total passes were 619 to 408. 555 completed passes to 356. So I feel like our pass completion is definitely improving. I feel like we are getting better at controlling the ball for longer, which is probably why our possession stats are also going upwards. Tackles won were 11 to 10, and aerial duels won we actually lost 8 to 10. Beto actually gave a fairly good account of himself against our centre-backs, I thought. He put himself about, sometimes illegally, but he did a pretty good job. Marcus Rashford obviously talked about after the game about how this is how he wants Old Trafford to be. So, and I agree that it felt for large parts of the game that there was a good atmosphere, and like it was obviously helps when you score goals. And like it gives the crowd confidence, and I feel like the feel-good factor has been returned a little bit since Erik ten Hag has left. Ruud van Nistelrooy definitely played a large part in making sure that happened, and I think moving forward that's definitely something that we need to continue on doing. So Rashford's now scored 3 goals in his last 2 Premier League games, and I talked about the fact that he is a streaky striker or a streaky player, and it was weird because when it first lined up, I thought that Rashford was the 9, but I feel like the longer the game went on, it was more Zirkzee was the 9. It was a bit of a weird one. There was a bit of interchanging. I feel like Rashford was playing as one of those 10s, and he wasn't horrible there. And the fact is, he's probably more clinical than Garnacho, because I feel like they had similar amount of chances, and over the 2 games, Marcus Rashford has definitely proved that he is the better finisher than Garnacho at this stage of his career. There's definitely something that Garnacho needs to get better at, is his final ball and decision making, and also his ability to finish his good work. Because he's very dangerous. He gets into all the right spots. He just doesn't finish off what he should be finishing off. So I think that's something else to keep in mind. So Ruben Amorim obviously must be pretty pleased, I would suggest, with Joshua Zirkzee. So let's hope that continues. we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, like the goals can only do him a world of good. I mean, he's now scored 3 Premier League goals. He's actually scored more goals in the Premier League than Rasmus Højlund this season, which is good because like Zirkzee has pretty much played. He played a lot of those games when Rasmus Højlund was obviously injured at the start of the season. So, yeah, we can only hope that continues, but it's just a matter of time, really. So, I wonder how long Ruben Amorim can persist with like changing the team so regularly. I mean, I get it because we've got a lot of fixtures coming up, and it's something that he's definitely going to have to factor in, like the fitness of the squad. He's openly admitted that he doesn't think the squad's fit enough, which is hard to believe that professional footballers can't be fit enough in the first place. That bit I struggle to get on board with. I mean, like, how can you just not be fit? I mean, the only way you can't be fit is if you don't actually go to training. So, I don't know. I just don't get that one, really. But look, we were brilliant. There's definitely nothing else to say other than the fact that it was nice to watch us win a game comfortably and not have to be worried about, are we going to concede a sloppy goal? Is that going to then get us back on, is that going to give them a chance to get back into the game? But, yeah, not sure. So, look, there's plenty to take out of this, though. Andre Onana, again, was fairly decent. The one noticeable thing I've noticed under Ruben Amorim compared to Erik ten Hag is that Andre Onana is now no longer just kicking the ball up the field like aimlessly and like sort of allowing it to 50-50. He's been getting much better at like holding onto the ball, inviting the attack of the opposition to come onto him to try and press him, and then he's just delivering and moving the ball out from goal, and then we're actually building the play from the back. That has been very noticeable over the last 3 games, how much the direction has been, no, we're not going to just hoof it forward, we're going to actually look for a player and try and play it out from the back. And I think that's all part of Ruben Amorim talking about keeping control of the ball. If you're keeping control of the ball, that means the opposition don't have it, which means they're far less likely to be able to score goals. And I think that's definitely something that needs to be done moving forward. And I think that we'll see an evolution of how we're going to be playing. And I think that's going to be good in the long term. I think that's definitely going to be good. And there's plenty to work on. So, like, the standout performers in today's game, obviously, Bruno Fernandes with the 2 assists. He was brilliant. I thought that he just, he got around the pitch well. Again, he looks like he's actively trying harder to make sure he doesn't just give the ball needlessly away. We're not seeing the same amount of ridiculous, worldy through balls being attempted or whatever you want to call it. And I think that's good because I feel like there is a time and a place, and like he's got 2 assists in this game. Decision making was fantastic. I mean, the first one was kind of lucky because it sort of was off a corner. It just sort of came to Rashford, and Rashford's hit it, and really it would have been very close to an own goal. But again, he put the ball in. And then the second one, he literally laid on a plate for Joshua Zirkzee. I mean, he literally played it across, and like if Amad Diallo had been slightly quicker, he would have had the tap in instead. This is what we want to see. Bruno Fernandes, I definitely prefer him in one of them number 10 inside roles because I felt like against Bodo Glimt, he was sitting too deep, and then you could see that he was like looking for that long ball all the time, and I don't think that's good. I don't think that's what we should be doing. So it was great to see him back in that more advanced role. And like, look, when he is playing in that more advanced role, he is likely to get you a goal or assist per game. He's that good of a player. And I think if he can learn to keep the ball better, which what seems to be happening, and playing, less risky passes, I think that's probably what I'm trying to say, then going forward, that's going to be very good for the team as well. And I just think that's definitely something that he needs to build on and work on in order to get the most out of him. Now, another player that was really good in this game was Marcus Rashford. Now, a lot of the supporter base are sick of him and they think he should be sold and all this. But you cannot deny that the man scores goals. When he is being teed up, like he is a better finisher, I would say, than Zirkzee. Even though Zirkzee scored twice in this game as well. I just feel like Marcus Rashford offers... Like, today it didn't really even look like, he was out of He actively looked like he was trying even when we didn't have the ball, and I think that's probably his biggest weakness, is that when he's not got the ball, or when the team hasn't got the ball, Marcus Rashford, I think, I wouldn't say he's lazy, it's just not in his nature to, and it sounds bad because how else would you describe it if you're too lazy to run back? But I think he's actively looks like he's trying to do something in terms of his defensive positional work when we haven't got the ball. I just think that, what he does bring to the team when he's on form is he will bring goals. He brings speed and he brings a bit of directness. And I feel like in one of them 10 roles, he actually looked all right. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Did he look all right? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just too nice because he's a Manchester-born boy. I don't know. But look, he was really good. Joshua Zirkzee also, as I said before, his link-up play was much better in this game. And obviously the 2 goals will hopefully do his confidence a world of good, because realistically, if he continued on in the same run of form he was, by January, I could easily have seen these stories of a loan move or whatever that quite possibly come into fruition, because he has been, relatively speaking, pretty damn poor. And considering he was bought in the summer to be that forward player that's going to be the alternative to Højlund when Højlund's not playing, you need to be scoring goals. So it was great to see him get 2 goals, and they were the kind of goals that he's been passing up for the most of this season so far. So it was great to see that he's actually seems to have sorted it out, and moving forward, hopefully that continues, because realistically we need goals throughout the team. But the real star of the show, and to save this bit for here, I've got no more expletives or compliments that I can pay other than the fact that Amad looked absolutely class today out there. He was absolutely fantastic. He was running rings around the Everton defence, and not only that, he was leading the press brilliantly. So the Joshua Zirkzee's first goal came from the fact that Amad Diallo read the pass that Jordan Pickford was playing out of the back. He hustled the defender that the ball went to. I think it might have been a midfielder the ball went to. Amad's gone right up him. He's then panicked and passed it to the defender that's behind him. And Amad's gone and won the ball and then won it. So, and then it's fallen to Bruno Fernandes, who's then literally teed up Joshua Zirkzee for a tap-in. It was just brilliant all-round defensive work and attacking, just sort of intuition from Amad. It was just brilliant to watch. And that's the kind of stuff that I've always said this season, that he is really good when we don't have the ball. He's actively one of our better pressers, along with Mason Mount, who again got a couple of minutes run out here. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we saw Mason Mount start against Arsenal with Bruno Fernandes and probably Højlund or Rashford, one of the two. I just think we're likely to see that, because I think we need that pressing. And I feel like Arsenal, they're probably going to have more of the ball. We want someone that's a bit better out of the ball, which is why I think maybe Marcus drops to the bench, only because of the fact that I just think that against Arsenal it might be a bit of a liability to put him on the field. Manuel Ugarte obviously got rested for the first 66 minutes of this game. He replaced Bruno Fernandes, and Garnacho replaced Casemiro. But I would imagine that against Arsenal we will see Ugarte midfield. And now that Mainu's suspended, I would suggest it could be Bruno Fernandes, but I feel like realistically it probably needs to be Casemiro. Ugarte and Casemiro probably should be deployed, I think, against Arsenal, just because of the fact that they've got a bit more experience, and Casemiro's experience in that kind of situation might actually be really good. That's just my personal opinion. But Amad Diallo, the second goal, the goal that came straight after halftime, again, was put on a plate by Amad Diallo for Rashford. He was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. He's just been quality. Yeah. Best way of describing it, really. Actually, no, I'm lying. He didn't put on the Marcus Rashford goal. That was Bruno. My bad. My apologies. I meant the fourth goal. I got him slightly wrong in my head. I thought the third goal was the fourth goal, and the third goal was the fourth goal. Yeah. So the fourth goal, he actually wins the ball, and then just goes to goal and literally lays it on a platter for Joshua Zirkzee. I think the main difference between Amad and Garnacho, after the Bodo Glimt game, I thought Garnacho was wasteful, and the fact that he lacked that final ball and his decision-making wasn't that good. But Amad was like the complete opposite in this game. His decision-making was flawless. His intuition was brilliant. And his execution was just as flawless. I mean, the only thing that was really lacking from his game from that particular role was a goal. But if your right wing-back is providing you with 2 assists in a game, I think you're going to be going home pretty damn happy. Now, I haven't heard Ruben Amorim's press conference yet. Post-match press conference yet. But I'm assuming he'll be quite happy, and he'll be talking about there's still work to be done. The team needs to be evolving and things like this. And I think we will continue to see lots of changes, particularly over the coming fixtures and the coming weeks, just to see what works, what doesn't work, what he can demand of the players, what they're going to give him, what they're not going to give him. I think these are all very relevant points. Anthony obviously dropped to the bench, and I thought potentially we might see him in the second half, but we didn't. Malacia was sitting on the bench as well, another unused sub, and obviously Højlund did not come on either. It was good to see Harry Maguire back. It was good that he's fit and available. I mean, like when you're playing 3 at the back, you almost need to make sure you've got 5 or 6 centre backs that are fit. So it was great to see him back to fitness, and you know he got a valuable 35 odd minutes run out here. He might come in to replace Martinez on the weekend. I'm not sure. I still think that Shaw is the better option there. He's quicker, and I feel like you probably need someone a lot more agile against Saka out there. Saka's been dominant for Arsenal since Martin Odegaard's been back, so we will definitely have our work cut out there. So hopefully that is something that we can work out, and we'll move on from there. But yeah, I thought on the whole there was lots of positive to take out, and the fact that we kept the clean sheet and we scored 4 goals, that has not been a given. Watching Manchester United for quite a period of time, we haven't been scoring a lot of goals for quite a while. So the fact that we've scored 4 here, we scored 3 against Bodo Glimt, we obviously scored 1 goal against Ipswich, but this is potentially signs. And obviously the Ruben Amorim area there as well, where we scored quite a few goals as well. Hopefully that continues moving forward. Now there's a couple of downers I want to talk about here. So the first one is the task of Ruben Amorim. Now he has been appointed the permanent manager or head coach of Leicester City, who obviously sacked Steve Cooper after a poor run of results to start the season for them. I'm just scared that is not a good job for him. I feel like the job at Leicester is going to be hard to keep him up. And I feel like that's all he'll literally be doing is keeping him up. I don't think they're going to be pushing for anything else. And even moving into the future, I just think that, I would have preferred to see him at a better club that are a bit more stable and secure in the Premier League. But alas, I hope we wish him all the best from Manchester United and hope that he does well, except for when they verse us. Hopefully they can do one over City and Liverpool. That'd be brilliant if they could do that. I mean, the other downer I want to talk about is the ticket prices. So I didn't notice this. I'm actually going to the Bournemouth game in 3 weeks' time at home, and I'm also going to the Newcastle game. Now I've got a ticket to the Newcastle game in the Stretford end, right in the front section. So I'm excited for that. But what I wasn't excited about, the fact is that I had to pay 66 quid for my ticket, which I thought that's a substantial increase on what it used to be. Because I swear that these tickets were normally like 51 quid or like 56 maybe. I feel like I was paying at least an extra 10 or more, maybe more. And it hasn't gone down well with the fans. And the reasoning behind it is the fact that, we've got to comply with PSR rules. It's just ticket prices have been good at Old Trafford for a very long time. The season ticket prices have been frozen for a long time until obviously the last year or so. But it is disappointing that they've raised it in season. I feel like if you're going to raise it, just do it at the end of the season or at the start. Don't do it midway through and just say that that's how it is. Must have obviously written a letter about this. It'll be interesting to see what Ineos come back with, because there was no consultation in regards to this change. It's literally just been passed straight on. So unfortunately, to go to the Newcastle game, I've had to pay an extra 10 quid than what I think that I would have used to previously. So that's disappointing. And we won't finish on that note, but it is disappointing. So, yeah, you got to look after the fans. That's how you get a good atmosphere, is making your tickets affordable for the young people of Manchester. Otherwise, what you'll get is what Roy Keane used to famously refer to as the prawn sandwich brigade, and no one wants a prawn sandwich brigade. So look, hopefully this isn't a sign of things to come and they're just going to keep rising the prices. I mean, obviously they want to build a new stadium as well. I just don't think that charging a mini fortune to go and watch your team play is the correct answer, and it's not a good look for fans. It like the fans in general. There's a good way of losing the goodwill that Ineos potentially had brought up with like some of their decisions or whatever. I feel like they're making more and more decisions where you're like, oh, really? What are they doing that for? So look, that's just something to keep in mind. But look, overall, it was a very positive day. It was great to see Mainu back on the team as well. He played well. He played 80 minutes. Unfortunately, as I said, he got that booking, but he was pretty neat and tidy throughout most of this game. It wasn't amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a solid return for him after spending quite a large portion of time out. I think he hasn't played in like 6 weeks or something prior to this game, so he was pretty good, neat and tidy. Kept the ball ticking over. I had a good chance early in the first half as well that they did well to deal with. One thing I did notice is we need to stop giving away stupid free kicks. And there was a period after we scored the third goal where we were very sloppy. We gave away two or three yellow cards as well. That kind of stuff's just got to sort out because better teams will punish you for that. So that's definitely something that needs to change moving forward. But on that note, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you're following along on audio on Spotify, please make sure you rate the show and give us a follow. That has been Manchester United, the D Unit's view, 4-0 over Everton on Sunday, Super Sunday. That's been the D Unit.